press conference, JFF Football Federation. Of course, we have the coach here. My name is Earl Bailey, press officer, and the coach will be speaking with you for the next few minutes. But we apologize for coming on a little late, and we go straight into it. So back to you, coach. This press conference is about the Mexico trip only, nothing else. And so any questions will be about Mexico. Coach, up to you. Go ahead, sir.
No, even though we want to start with and focus on the Mexico camp, I think we have to close the.
This meeting is being recorded.
The last camp we did, which was Trinidad and Tobago, and to explain a few things, I think that we're all on the same page, on the same path. Now, our job is to get Jamaica into 26. All our actions are in accordance to that. What will help us in the long run? So that was basically the first step for us to see players that we could from the domestic league, young players from etc. So the priority was to look at players and give them a chance to give them a playing time and give them a chance to understand and show that they understand our team tactics. And as everybody saw, the playing time was divided between the players, so everybody got their minutes. Most of them got at least 45 minutes. Some of them or most of them played almost 90 minutes. So it was not about the performance, it was about who is the best. So we just wanted to see all the players play. Young squad, promising players, and our question was, do you have what it takes? And if not now, then what do we need to do to help you for the next 2-3 years? Or shall we need to wait a little bit and see you later? And then if it's in 1 year, if it's in 2 years, we check you again. So the best thing would be if a player comes for his first national team camp, is completely ready for the first team for a competitive game. But that really doesn't happen often. So that was our first camp. These games, we had a lot of questions. We got answers, some positive answers, some negative answers, but in the end, they will all be good that we got answers to all of our questions regarding these players. Now know in our mind who we think is ready to go with the journey for 226 with us, or we need to wait and see some others a little bit later. What kind of personalities are these guys? We know that now from looking at them for a week, and just to see them in our environment. I've talked a lot about our working environment, so now we've seen them in our environment, in our tactics. So will they function or will they not function? We have answers to these questions. So if I compare, if our job as coaches would have been like, coach, you have to win all your matches for the next 4 years, especially the friendlies, if that would be our task, and then of course we, number one, wouldn't have selected a lot of these players in this squad. We would have not have selected young, unexperienced players. I think it was about 11 players playing the first match for Jamaica. And we would have focused on this match, not 2026. We would have put our focus and tried to get all the best players everywhere for this match, not the young players. So that's the difference between how we think and probably some, of course, and I understand makers that they wanted to win Trinidad. It's a rivalry. So I don't know if you have the squad already, but it should be. Is the squad already to the
It's going to go.
So it's probably 9. So unusual, we are selecting 5 players from the last camp for this spot. that is unusual, but it's close between these camps. So it was easy to select one. They at least have the advantage of being with us for 1 week, and they know what we expect, what we want. So yeah, that is unusual. Now, if we talk about the football side of these Trinidad matches, we were not happy with how we played. A lot of technical mistakes. Players, of course, haven't played together, so they were showing short, but the ball came long, etc. So just misunderstanding between players. But it was a lot of long balls. It was way too much for long balls. It was lack of patience on the ball, lack of confidence and creativity on the ball. So that is the things that is probably connected to the things they are doing normally in the week here. It's a lot of long ball, so it's one thing to teach them what we want. Is a different thing to get them to get rid of their old habits. So that was something that we will then know in the future. So, but we wanted so much, at least to mix the long balls with short balls, but we wanted to keep the ball on the ground, the use of flanks, etc. But at least it was possible to play a good combination pattern game in the end of the So leaving this Trinidad camp and focus on the Mexico one. Of course, we have big respect for Mexico. I watched them, so 2 games in Qatar in the World Cup. Really aggressive team, attacking wise, quick, skillful, especially top 3 players, really attacking minded, high pressing team. So it's a lot of things that we need to be out of when we go to Mexico. But we say, and we are not shy to say, we are going there to win, because it's a truly important game for us, Jamaica. Number one, it's a Nation League match. So if we win, we go to a semi-final and a final in the Nation League, so we have a chance to win a trophy. That's one reason. Secondly, we will get a semi-final and a final in June. Really good preparation matches for the Gold Cup. So that is a second advantage. And then the third one is that it's a prep for the Cup to play in USA before we go to the World campaign, the Gold Cup campaign. Sorry. So a must-win game for us, and only a win can get us to the final. So we go there with a plan to win Mexico. If we are successful or not, we will just have to see. But we will go there with a plan to win Mexico, because we expect Mexico to win soon in the game in 3 days, I think. So our selection of the squad took a little bit longer than we wanted. We wanted to announce the squad earlier, but echo here. But because the Guatemala game is now off, we wanted to see some of the players that we plan to see in that match. So we wanted to change a little bit our thoughts about the squad. So we changed a little bit from what we had in mind. There are injuries to Blake, there's injuries to Antonio, and Omari Hutchinson is available. It's personal reasons. So apart from these 3, all players are available and all players are accepted to come. So we are really happy with the squad. So 6 players here in the squad now that we are seeing for the first time. Taxi is Pinnock, Boyce Clark from Reading, Amal Knight, we haven't seen him before, Corey Burke, and Jonathan Russell. So that's 6 players we haven't seen before. We are really looking forward to seeing. So I hope you have the squad. If there's any questions, then we are open to answer questions regarding Mexico. I should read the squad. I don't have it. So if you don't have the squad, I can read it here. It's Amabel, Jamal, Ethan Pino, Jonathan Russell, Terry, Demario Phillips, Dexter Lampiza, Adrian Mariappa, Kevin Lambert, Jamali Wade, Corey Burke, Damian Lowe, Doug Johnson, Robert Morrison, Karen Paris, Richard King, Shaman Nicholson, Trevante Stewart, Conrad Boyce Clark, Amal Knight, Jalen Brown, Kemal Lawrence, and Leon Bailey.
All right. Any questions for the coach? All right. Let's start with Mr. Parchment. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Coach. You said that the intention is to win. When you came here to this job, what were your thoughts of the public and their what some would call short-sightedness or impatience? And does that feed into you diagnosis that those intentions that is to win?
No. This is just a different assignment, a different task, a different kind of a match. This is a tournament game, so of course that is the priority, and it is a highly important match. It would help us a lot to win, to go through to the semi-final in the Nations League. That will give us, like I said, 2 good preparation matches for the Gold Cup. So yeah, it's always better to play official matches rather than friends.
All right. Daniel, Lena. Daniel, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah. You muted yourself again.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Coach, 2 questions. One regarding the inclusion of is John Russell, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trying to find out in terms of what did it's obviously his first call up, but want to find out in terms of what you've heard from him that decided to give him in terms of trying to evaluate him in an important game. Just start off.
Yeah, number one, we wanted to see him earlier for so-called I think for Argentina camp. We tried to get him. He was then he didn't have his passport finished. Now I think it's sorted out, so we will to see him. He played for at that time. He was playing for Huddersfield. He's a huge guy, a defensive midfielder. So he is maybe in a way we are kind of short in this position. So we like to see as many players who play and give them a chance to show us what they can do. If we play him or not, we will just have to see that. But we are excited because his profile, he's young, he's tall, he's playing a competitive league with Barnsley. And played pretty good. He's coming now. I think he changed clubs in January window, so he's been playing really and doing really well. So player for the future, hopefully for us. So we just like to see him and give him an opportunity to be with the squad in his camp.
And then the second question, I know that you said that what were you pleased in terms of the technical aspects from Trinidad, in terms of whether a lot of long balls and not a lot of opportunities to play on the ground. In terms of technical wise, what are the things that you're trying to correct, whether that be in terms of positioning, how the passes are deployed, that you would want in terms of this spot in a very important game?
Yeah, it's two things. We are more like going to the basics in our tactics. And now, for example, our tactics will be solely for this Mexico camp. So we will have some things we would like to emphasize, for example, in our attacking game, and then other things we would like to emphasize in our defensive game. So, but from the first game, I thought they went way too early for the long ball. We had like options to play it long, but we want them to play it short. We wanted to use the flanks and keep the ball more in the team. But if you watch the matches here in the league, but that is basically what they do every day. So it's difficult to change that into 2 sessions. So when they got into trouble, they kicked it long instead of passing it. And when you're young players, normally they don't have the composure, they don't have the confidence to maybe play through the first press. So this now is a totally different world. More experienced players used to play at a high level. You play national team games. So I don't expect that in the game against Mexico.
Ghana?
Yeah.
You have another question?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, let's go to Tyrone David.
Yeah. Good morning, coach. Good morning, Earl. Can you just go back to the start again for me, because I didn't get all of the names.
It's on the JFF social media pages now. So anybody who didn't get it, you can Jamaica the JFF social media pages and it's posted there. All right.
Amari Bell, Jamal Lowe, Ethan Pinnock, Jonathan Russell, Bobby Reed, Timothy Phillips, Dexter Lampekiza, Adrian Mariappa, Kevin Lambert, Jamali Wade, Corey Burke, Damian Lowe, Daniel John, Ravel Morrison, Kahim Paris, Richard King, Shaman Nelson, Trevante Stewart, Onaya Boyce Clark, Amal Knight, Javine Brown, Kemal Lawrence, and Liam Bailey. Hopefully, nobody is angry towards my pronunciation.
All right. Okay. Thank you, coach. So, coach, I know that the captain is out. So, are you much confident in the 2 goalkeepers that we have?
We have 3 keepers. So we have Jamali, who played in Cameroon, the league in Cameroon, and he played also a part in the second game against Trinidad. And we have a keeper with experience from the national team. Sadly, he just went the same time we came to Jamaica, but didn't see league matches. So we are excited to see him. He has experience from the national team, so 2 really qualified keepers. And then we have Boyce Clark, who has played with the youth national teams of is now at Reading and is highly rated there. So we are equally excited to see how he is in this camp. So yeah, I think we are improving a lot in this position on the pitch.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's go to I Am Sure Sport.
Good morning, Coach Hal Grimson. Good morning, Mr. Bailey, and to all the other persons here. Just one correction. I know you originally said there are 5 players from the last camp that are in this present squad, but actually 7 from
So I did not count Mariappa, and I did not count Ravel Morrison because they have not really been in this squad.
Okay. Now I understand. All right. The second, well, that's just my first question is as it relates to the time of preparation. I know this is a long camp, and but Mexico have a game the 23rd, and then they have on the 26th. We will not have a game with the majority of the players that are coming in. Leading up to that, but you have around 5 days before the team goes out. Do you believe that that is enough time to get your philosophy or your style of play or your what you want to do on the field with these players before the game against Mexico, not having them to play a game? You haven't seen Pinnock, as you admitted. There are a couple others that you probably play at a high level, but you have not seen.
Yeah, that is actually a good question. So we decided early on to have only one camp, or no, just one match, and focus on the Mexico, because we already knew that we would have 2 games against Trinidad prior to the camp, and we planned with the game against Guatemala after the camp. So we would have seen a lot of players in these 4 matches. Now it's a little bit since the Guatemala game was off, but still we think the priority of all these matches is on Mexico. So we like to focus on the preparation for that match, and to get players tired or injured, maybe playing another friendly 2 or 3 days prior to Mexico. We thought that was not clever. Instead, we wanted to bring the players to Jamaica. The camp would be in Montego Bay. We wanted players to live and experience Jamaica, connect to the people here, and connect to the country. So that was one reason we want, to just be closer to people in our preparation, not focus on a friendly for these players. So that was our thought process behind only 1 game in this window.
All right, make it quick now. I am sure sport. We have quite a few people waiting.
Oh, not a problem. The second question is in the games against Trinidad, you started one Alwyn Harvey and the other one of Joshua Allen in midfield. Then you made substitution and Ravel played in a deeper role. This one you have Lambert and John Russell, who can play CDM. Is the plan going ahead to deploy those 2 players there without necessarily asking Ravel to play as deep as he did in Argentina and 2 games against Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, I would maybe, if in a personal call, answer that to you. But of course, I'm not going to give you how we are going to play. But all of them can for sure. And Ravel showed us against Argentina where they swapped position, DJ and Ravel played the deeper and DJ went higher up on the pitch. So Ravel is a versatile player with a huge amount of experience. So we liked what we saw. We were a little bit worried about his fitness, but he showed in the game how vital he can be for us. So yeah, we have more options for this position. So, but we need to keep on working with players who can play. But a lot of them played well, but we need a certain character in. If it's only 1 player in a defensive field position, we need a special character for that. Sometimes it's better to play with 2. It's easier to play when you have another defensive midfielder next to you.
Well,
Right. Thank you. I am sure sport. Let's move to Brian Peter.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, was the question finished?
Yes, good. Yes,
So 5 players that we think and wanted to see play with this squad to see how they would do with playing with let's say, better players, more experienced players. I think they can all take step up playing with better players around them. So not that others were bad. We just want to see these guys. It was positions that we needed. So we looked maybe to the guys we just stopped working with. That will not be in my. I think in the future we will not take so many from the local league, I would guess, but let's see if they do. Regarding Whisper, we were really happy with him, really happy with him. Now, just remember, I was criticized for picking him. Some thought that was a silly thing to do, and he did really well for a 17-year-old. And for sure, the future is here if he continues to work hard. That is no doubt in our mind as coaching staff. He's not the final product, of course. I believe he will be a national team player for Jamaica in the future, and I guess in the close future. We considered him like others for this camp. Now, the reason we did not book was one, that there's a lot of things going on in his life. If he is making a big move to a big club, like Chelsea, and they don't sign average players, so it just shows how they think of him. So he's moving to another country, he's changing clubs, so it's a lot of things going on in his mind. So we all need to protect a player like this, don't put too much low pressure on him at this stage. But it's like many of the other players. We know, and at least think we know after this week what they can give us now and in the future. So for sure, you will see him again in the national team. There's no pressure on the kid. We don't want to put pressure on this kid.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Let's move now to Jermaine Brown.
Thanks, sir. Good morning, coach. So Jamaica has had the problems scoring goals. The last man to score a goal for Jamaica in an international match, Justin McMaster against Cameroon. Is he now a forgotten man? Well, we haven't seen or heard of him since. What's the deal with him?
Yeah, the best we know, he's trying to find a club. If I'm correct? Correct, yeah. So he's searching for a club. We've been trying to follow up on him. But yeah, no, he's. If he can score for us, of course, we want to have these guys on board. We'll see what his career lies and goes. So no, he's not forgotten.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's move to, who is that now? Mr. Smith.
Yes, thanks, morning, coach.
No.
A few questions. Fans are displeased with the aesthetics of football. For clarity purposes, will the 4-4-2 system be the staple of our football going forward?
No, sir. But when we need a 4-4-2, we play a 4-4-2. So it's good. Like I said, the basics are good to teach in a 4-4-2. We were thinking about the basics in the last camp. But normally, we don't care what system we are playing. It's just what fits the purpose of the game. If we were playing 4-4-2 or a different system against Mexico, will be according to how we think we can do a good game and hurt them and win them.
Okay, and my final question, coach. So, in a previous interview, you mentioned a lack of a player profile. Now, how difficult was it to assemble this squad, and is your backroom staff and administrative staff actually aiding you with the scouting and development of a database?
Yeah, we have been working really hard. More or less all time has gone into this. You have to take into account we are foreigners, so we didn't know much about Jamaican football before we arrived. So that has been our priority to learn much about the players, where they're playing, how they're playing, etc. It's a lot of players Jamaica has all over the world. So my first 2 months were focused on the players here in Jamaica. So I've tried to see as many games as possible in the league for the players playing domestically. Now we have to search to the other players. So the database, not only for us as a coaching staff, but for future coaches, I think is really important, and at all age levels, that when you start to have access to a database, what is available and how these players have been doing for Jamaica. And I can tell you that this is changing rapidly. We are working really well with the coaching staff, with the JFF, trying to do the best like database to us. So we have apps, we have scouts helping us. So this will change hopefully for the future.
Coach. All right, let's move to Mr. Reid. Now we have one question because the coach has 5 more questions to answer that. So, Mr. Reid.
Afternoon, Coach Grinton. Good afternoon to the everybody in the chat. My question is that Mexico is the key players for the game coming against Jamaica, the 6 players. As I know, the players in Europe. What is the plan going forward in this Mexico game? Because it's a do or die moment for Jamaica and for Mexico if they lost the game. What are the plans going into this game, and what success plan would you go forward to this game?
Really. So the plan, the plan how we're gonna win, how we're gonna plan to win. Are you basically asking what is the plan to win Mexico?
Yes.
Yeah. So of course, tactically, we're not gonna say how we like to play against Mexico in a press conference, but it's always the same principles. You know, they are really strong in transition, for example. So we always have to balance when we have the ball. It's things like this. They are quick. They change positions up front. The wing players are really good 1v1. So that's emphasis in defense we need to take care of. Then they have some weaknesses that we would like to exploit, and for sure I'm not going to talk about those here. So there's a few things that we think we can hurt them, but we will see. You will see.
Thank you, sir. Let's move now to Eddie Guna. Eddie, your question. One question. Eddie gonna sleep. Hello, Eddie. Eddie Guna.
You can take the next one.
All right, let's go to Russian Parchment again. I would say the final. Yeah. All right, well, go ahead. Go ahead, Eddie. You're on.
Yeah, you hear me. Morning. That has just received passports. You have to be specific. What players are you talking about then?
Eddie, the coach looked at some new players recently. Are you saying that there are other players out there with passports who want to play and
Yeah. No, yeah. We've it's difficult to see matches from Kiro Taylor. I know he's trying to change clubs. He's for sure one of the players that we want to see. I wanted to see, but we cannot see everyone at the same time. So we only can select 23 in that squad, and as here we wanted to see the players that we picked. So, but he's one name that we have been talking about. Yes, hopefully we can play on the 21 national team. So so we can see those players who are young and promising for Jamaica.
All right, man. Thank you. Any other question? Rashid, Archman, you have one more?
Yeah.
That's it.
It's about what you said about just master, but also you noting that you have a certain profile and characteristic you look for in building a squad. So I want to ask about unattached players and what you look for. What is your stance on unattached players, and what's the profile for when selecting players? The characteristics.
So it's different between what kind of matches we're playing, of course. So we go for the things we know when we select, for example, like this one against Mexico. So we go for, how can we say, the certainty of players playing the highest level, etc. When we play matches like Mexico, we have more flexibility in looking at players who maybe we don't know too much about. It's difficult to see matches, for example, Delano Splat or Tyler Roberts and those things. It's difficult for us to see that. So we call them in because we have heard and we have scouts and we have maybe one or two youth matches that they are playing. We are looking at the same with Whisper. He hasn't played senior football, so it's difficult to kind of evaluate players to the senior football standard in the international level. So unattached players, of course, in a national team is difficult to select. So we have in this camp Mariapa and Ravel, who are not playing at the moment. They are looking for clubs, and we then selected them for the camp against Trinidad, so we could see them and evaluate their fitness, etc. So it's different reasons for different players all the time. So it's not like a one rule about non-attached players.
Thank you, Rashid.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, if you don't mind, I'm going to take another question from Jeremy and finish this one. Jeremy, you're
Oh, no.
okay. All right. Okay. Thanks to everybody who joined us this morning. Of course, a lot of information out there. For those who didn't get the squad, it's on the Jamaica Football Federation social media pages, so you can go there and download. Thank you very much. We'll have a conference maybe at the game itself, but stay tuned. Thank you.
The recording has stopped.